All right, let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to Oracle Apex Office Hours JAPAC. A very happy new year to everyone. And thank you so much for joining in today. This is going to be the first Apex JAPAC Office Hours in 2024. It's the last day of January, but still, this is the first one. And then Happy New Year to everyone once again. So today's topic is a deep dive into workflow designer and application working copies. My name is Chaitanya and I lead the JPAC product management team for Oracle Apex. And today, my colleagues Rupesh and Tawfiq are going to present this topic. Apex 2023 year in review. We have released two major Apex releases in 2023. We had Apex 23.1 and Apex 23.2. 23.1 the first half and the 23.2 later half of the year in 2023. Also, we inaugurated the Apex Office Hours JPAC. We earlier had India Office Hours, and then we upgraded that to JPAC Office Hours. We started sessions from Feb 23, and then sessions were in English, as well as we also started doing the office hours in regional languages. We had sessions in Chinese and Japanese as well. And the most important thing is in 2023, Apex is awarded a Technology of the Year award by InfoWorld in 2023. Also, a couple of other milestones are the training and certification. Actually, we now have a separate training and certification page on apex.oracle.com. We launched two learning paths: Apex Foundations for the beginners and Apex Developer Professional for the intermediate, for the Apex developers in detail. Also associated with the Apex Developer Professional learning path is the associated certification. There more to come in the upcoming slides, and also my colleagues will be sharing the URLs for you for all these information. Also, we had major Oracle marketing events last year. We also had some webcasts for JPAC, also in regional languages. India Oracle Apex User Group, they hosted Apex Utsav in multiple cities, and it was a grand success. As you could see on the slide, there were more than 200 attendees in most of the cities. Lots and lots. We also started publishing a blog post on Apex and AI, and we also had a lot of demos. A lot of other assets and lots of other stuff that we did in 2023. Just a quick summary of this. And all of these could not have been possible without the support and enthusiastic participation by the community. It's awesome. So a big thank you to all of you for encouraging and supporting us. And we really look forward for an exciting 2024. So lots coming up in this year. Please stay tuned. So always build enterprise applications 20 times faster with 100 times less code. Please do visit apex.oracle.com for all of the information about Apex. Resources we have on apex.oracle.com. This is the one-stop shop official site for Apex. You get information about the platform, use cases, learning material, training and certification, community, videos, and lots of additional resources and success stories of our happy customers of Apex. And as I already mentioned, today's agenda in 2023-2, Apex 23.2 includes major features, the game changer features like workflow designer and also working copies. These are the major features in 23.2. We would like to do a deep dive. Today, Rupesh is going to present workflow designer, followed by Tawfiq is going to demonstrate and talk about working copies. First, I would like to invite Rupesh. Please take over. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, for joining this session. Today, we are going to talk about Oracle Apex Workflow, which is the latest feature of Apex 23.2. We're going to have a quick discussion about the overview of workflow, what is included, what is not included, and other stuff. Along with that, we are going to see a quick demonstration on how Apex Workflow works. At the end of the session, we'll be having a Q&A. If you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A section in the chat. Thank you. With Apex, oh, sorry for that. We have introduced workflows in Apex 23.2, which is a fully integrated workflow solution that enables you to automate business processes the low-code way, using an intuitive visual workflow designer that is built natively to Apex platform itself. And before going further, let us understand what is a workflow. A workflow is basically the automation of a business process in a whole or a part during which documents, information, or tasks are passed from one participant to another. And you can define a particular set of rules like sequence flow, how the transition should work, and other things. So with Apex Workflow, we have included various components to make this work, right? So with Apex 23.2, we have some of the components that we have included with Workflow. The first and foremost important thing is a visual workflow designer. The user experience of this visual workflow designer is very similar to the page designer that we have in for creating your pages or building your applications. And this is also tightly integrated in the application builder itself. And with the help of this visual builder, you can create activities of the workflow. You can connect those activities conditionally or unconditionally based on your requirements. Basically, you can model and author workflows using drag and drop functionality available in the component palette. And one more important component that we bought is a workflow console. This is similar to the approvals component that we have earlier. You can create your pages. You can generate your workflow pages for administration, management of the workflows. And like I mentioned, the page generation is very similar to the page creations or page generations of your reports or forms that we saw earlier. Just few button clicks and you can generate this management and administration pages as well. And the third component is a workflow plugin. You can call it as workflow process plugin. So why? Because this is included as a part of your page process. So whenever you want to start a workflow or perform various other operations that workflow provides, you should call this workflow process, page process available. You can call it declaratively using your page creation during page creation. And to run your workflows, you have also included runtime engine. With the help of this, you can execute your workflows and start your end users can start using the workflows out of the box. And last and foremost thing, you will also get a lot of workflow APIs. The main important thing is a public API called Apex underscore workflow package. With the help of this, you can start your workflow, perform other workflow operations directly with the help of at any point with the help of this Apex underscore workflow package. And there are a lot of SQL views included in the workflow in 23.2 so that you can monitor, you can take various actions directly out of the box. So let us understand a little bit more about what is an Apex workflow visual designer. You can see the experience is very similar to that we saw earlier. The page, like the page designer, left pane, central pane, and the right pane. Here, the central plane where you are seeing the workflow diagram, which we call this diagram builder. You can create your diagrams. For example, I want to send an email in my workflow. I can just drag and drop from the activities palette that you are seeing here. I can just drag and drop the send email. I can drop it to this workflow diagram builder. I can establish connections, like I mentioned, conditionally or unconditionally. You can establish connections between them. So this is basically used to drag and drop your activities and prepare using the diagram controls here. You can do all such activities over here. And the workflow navigation tree in the left pane that you are seeing, which is your workflow navigation tree. With the help of this, you can create your parameters, you can create activities directly instead of drag and dropping. You can right click on activity, create them. You can create workflow variables. You can create the participants who is going to take like business administrator or who is the owner of the workflow. You can configure all those things in the left side directly using the workflow navigation tree. And we all know, since we are most of us are Apex developers for a long time, you know the property editor that we get in the right side. Here you can configure all the workflow settings. For example, I'm selecting an activity called a human task create. For that, which human task to call, which task definition to call, what are the primary key items? All these settings you can configure in the right side in the activities section that you see in the right pane. So you can configure all your workflow settings using the right pane. Okay. Let us see a quick demo to understand this further. I'm not going to talk too many slides. Let us understand what is the use case, and I'll show a live demo on how this workflow works. Let us consider a simple use case. We do this in our day-to-day life. Sometimes we need to go to a doctor for an appointment for various problems that we health issues that we have. So what you will do usually, you will ring up, you will dial the hospital. Once you dial the hospital, the front desk management or the management guys will pick up the call, and he will ask you for what is your name, what is your contact number, what is your issue that you're facing, whether it's a general or diabetic or cardiac issue or ENT issue, whatever it is. Based on that, you can also select a doctor that you wish, right? So this is a general process. When you dial up this one, they will be filling a form. Once they click on the submit button, the workflow triggers over there. So the main actors here are the hospital front desk who will be taking your details, the patient who will be accepting the invoices, and the doctor who will be accepting or rejecting the appointment that you have requested. And you can also see some of the steps that you can understand. What are the manual steps that you need to do? Calling a hospital is a manual step, and filling the patient details in the perspective of hospital's front desk management, filling the patient details and submitting a request on behalf of the patient is a manual task, and doctor should be able to approve or reject based on his schedule. So these three are the manual steps that you can see some of the examples, and few examples of automatic steps. Once you raise a request, once you do a call, once you fill the form, the backend workflow should check whether the doctor is available or busy on the requested date. If the doctor is busy, straight away you should be able to receive an email saying that there is no appointment. Your appointment got cancelled because doctor is busy during that day. And if the doctor is available, you need to create a approval task so that doctor can go and approve or reject it. Let us understand a little bit about this in the next slide where I show a detailed flowchart. Before even explain this, let me zoom it a little so everyone can see this properly. You can see the actors here, hospital management or representative from the hospital, where he'll be using an Epic screen to submit a request. And the doctor, where he will be confirming whether it is available or not available. He'll be approving or rejecting the request. And you can see that as a patient, we can go to the application and confirm the invoice, and you can provide a feedback if required at the end of the this one. So these are the manual tasks that you will be doing. And apart from that, you will can see here, once the hospital staff raises a request, automatically the workflow should be able to validate whether the doctor is available or not available during that particular time slot. If he is available, if he is not available, the workflow should send an email to the patient saying doctor is not available and should terminate the workflow. If he is available, it should send a request to the doctor asking, doctor, are you available on this particular day or not available? Whether doctor should take a call whether he is available or not available. Again, if he's not available, I'm straight away sending no appointment email. If he's available, you need to check whether this is a follow-up request. For example, I might be going within 15 days. I should not pay any money within the 15 days as a patient, right? Your workflow should be able to check whether this is a follow-up request or not. If it is a follow-up request, you can just straight away raise a invoice, which the end user or the patient will approve or accept. If it is not a follow-up request, you should update the fee details. For example, I will be charging 500 Indian rupees for this particular appointment. So you should be able to update the fee details. And after updating the fee details, the workflow should be able to take care of this. It should go again, raise an invoice and confirm whether to confirm or reject, it should go to the patient. If we don't confirm within a certain period, for example, this morning I have raised a request. Within 30 minutes, 1 hour, it should reject automatically, right? If the patient is not accepting that, doctor will be having lots of different appointments, it should reject automatically. So this is where you can include that. And you can see there is a wait for patient. Now I have requested for appointment next week. Until next week, I should not be able to raise a feedback request. So in workflow, using the activity that we provide, you can wait activity. You can configure this as per your requirement until the until the appointment finishes. Do not raise anything. Once the appointment finish, raise a feedback request. And if the end user is providing feedback, send a thank you email. If he's not providing any feedback after a certain period of time, you just go mention that the workflow is completed. This is the exact workflow I'll be demonstrating, and I will show how we achieved this in Apex. So for that, let me go back. to my Apex screen and with my controls. You can see I have logged in as a user Steve. Steve is the hospital front desk guy who will be receiving your calls. Now, what I need to do, Steve, I have as a patient name, let us assume my name is Rajesh. I called Steve asking for an appointment. So, what is the patient name? Rajesh. Email, let us say rajesh@oracle.com. And problem, let us say Rajesh is looking for a cardiac doctor. So, the preferred doctor for Rajesh is preferred date. Let us assume it is the 5th of February. And the doctor that he prefers is Bo. And the age of Rajesh, let us keep something as a parameter. And when I click on this book appointment, the workflow should trigger in the backend. I'll be showing how it get triggers at the later point. First, let us see the demo. So when I click on book appointment, it will trigger the workflow. As a hospital staff, appointment submitted successfully. As a hospital staff, I can go here and see the workflow. I can monitor the workflow activities. You can see workflow for patient Rajesh. Once I click on this, you can see the workflow got started already. It has checked the computer for doctor availability and it has checked for doctor whether he is available or not. Since he is available, it has raised an appointment request with the doctor. Now, as a hospital, this one, my job is done here. I can just select sign out of this and I will log in as a doctor who is Bo. Once I log in as a doctor, I can see under doctor tasks, this is approval tasks that you had earlier in Apex. I still use this and bind this is the Apex I use myself. Now you can see appointment for Rajesh on February 5th, 2024 at 11:45. Now I can see all the details about this. Let me just go back. You can see all the details. Okay, appointment is available. I'm available at this particular day. So let me approve it. You can also reject it and it will send an email. So now, as a doctor, my job is done. I'm available on that particular day and particular time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sign out. Now I will go log in as I called as Rajesh. I call the front desk to check the status of my workflow of my appointment. So what the hospital staff does, they log into their application again. I'll be toggling around other screens as well. Please be with me. Now I can see here under monitor workflows, I can just click on workflow for patient Rajesh. You can see that raise appointment request is done, appointment is approved by doctor, confirm appointment is done. It checked for consultation whether it is a follow-up, this one follow-up appointment or is a new appointment. This is not a follow-up appointment, so it went to update fees activity where you will be updating where the money or the amount will be updated. You can see here booking ID 1502. Since this is a follow-up request, the variable got upgraded to 500 Indian rupees as a fee, and the outcome is approved. Now it is with the invoice request has been raised. Now it is with the patient whether he can approve it or he can wait and from after 29 minutes it will go to terminated state like this. So within 29 minutes, I need to go ahead and approve this request, raise invoice request. Now you can also see, like I forgot to mention earlier, these are the parameters that your workflow is looking for to. What is a patient age, patient email, Rajesh, is a patient name, problem, and request date. These five parameters are read-only parameters. You cannot update it at any point. These are just read-only parameters for the workflow to start. Okay. Let me close it. And also you can notice that you can suspend this particular request or you can also terminate based on the user requirement. So let me just close it. Finally, what I need to do, I need to log in as a patient who is Rajesh. Why I need to update this one? I need to accept the invoice request that was raised for me. You can see patient appointment and fees. You can go and check here. It is confirmed, paid all for all my previous requests. Now I can go to patient task, where a task will be waiting for me. Invoice for Rajesh for consultation February 5th. So I can go there. Once it gets loaded, you can just come here. You can check all the information. What is the fees? What is the patient name? Who is the doctor? I can just click on complete. This will complete the action task. Again, action task is a new feature that we have brought up in Apex 23.2, please go and explore that as well. So let me click on complete. My workflow is done for now. I should wait until 5th to get the request. For that, how I can track? I will log in as a hospital staff again. I'll check one more time, one last time. Steve, I'll give my passwords. You can check here under monitor appointment workflows, workflow for patient Rajesh. You can see all these things got completed. Only thing, it is now in the wait before requesting feedback. We cannot do that until the 5th of February. Why? Because the feedback request will be raised only once the appointment is completed. I will show how all these things are done in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So you can just see this. It is currently in the state wait before requesting feedback. Okay. This is the end-to-end application that we built. You can just go and explore. There are some amazing blogs by Ananya, and we are coming up with the library which will be available soon as well. Okay. Now let me go back to the new appointment page, and I'll try to edit it. Page 5. This is my page designer. You can see I have created a form here. This is my form and submit button, all these things. I'm not going to talk too much because everyone knows here. Let me go to page process. I can click on the process that we have. You can see the new type called workflow type is available for you out of the box. The new process type called workflow is available. Once you select that, you can also select what do you need to do in the workflow, whether you need to start the workflow, terminate the workflow, suspend the workflow, resume the workflow, or read the workflow. So these things you can configure as per your requirements. And what is a workflow definition? Doctor appointment, that is a workflow I have created already for you. And primary key item is a doctor ID. I hope everyone is clear. If you have any questions so far, please use the Q&A section in the chat. Now, let me go on show what is there actually in that definition doctor appointment workflow. For that, I need to navigate back to my application and to go to my shared components. You can see already shared components is a very beautiful place for all your application needs. We have added workflows out of the box over here. So just click on that and click on doctor appointment. You can just click on create at any point in time. You want to create a new workflow. If your workflow is already created, you can just click edit this by clicking on this. Now you also notice that there are 5 parameters defined. There is a one in development version. I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me click on this doctor appointment. As in when you click on the doctor appointment, you can see that the name of the workflow is doctor appointment. Title you can give as per your requirement. And we also provided a static ID out of the box. Now notice that there are parameters defined for this workflow. Like I mentioned, these parameters are one-time and read-only parameters. Once you set and start the workflow, you cannot change these parameters at any point in time because these are like building blocks of your workflow start and workflow process. Now you also notice that there is something called 1.0 dev. When I click on that, you can see the state is currently in development state. You can activate this so that it will go to production. Once your development is completed, workflow is working end to end, you can click on activate. And you before that, you need to add at least one participant here. One business owner need to be added here. Once your business owner is added, click on activate. Your workflow will go into production state. And remember, once it goes to production state, you cannot change all the parameters because it is in production. You're not supposed to change all those things. So now let us observe this workflow. Let me zoom or let me zoom out a little and zoom in back again. This is my workflow completely I have created. We have seen in the presentation about the complete process, right? Let me zoom in and explain a few components here. So workflow start. For each and every workflow, there should be exactly one starting point. You cannot have multiple starting points. There should be one starting point. You can have multiple endpoints like this. You can see there's one endpoint here, and there's one more endpoint here, and you can see there's one more endpoint here. You can have multiple endpoints, but workflow should have exactly one starting point for your workflow. Now understand, as a as a hospital representative, I have filled all the form details and clicked on submit button. And during that, I call the page process called workflow start. Once the workflow starts, it will take all the workflow parameters. You can see this is an invoke API process that is available in Apex, or that is one more page process type. All the process types that you see in your page, most of them are brought up here for the sake of your workflow. So this is an invoke API. Inside the network API, I'm using a PL/SQL package to check the availability. This is my package I have written in the backend already. I'm calling that package and I'm calling passing all the parameters here, like function result, doc ID, requested date. These are the parameters that this package asks for you. And once the package gets all the inputs, it will check whether the doctor is available or not available. You can see this is an unconditional branch again, unconditional connection. There is no condition mentioned for this. You can from where to compute doctor availability to doctor available. Now it will compute and it will pass a variable to your doctor. It will pass a value to your doctor available. What is the value that you pass? Availability. This is a variable you're going to set. We have created 5 variables for this workflow. To this availability variable, I'll set whether the doctor is available, yes or no, in a layman terms. Now you can see this is a switch activity. All these things I will just show an example. I can just drag and drop it like that if you want to add more. And again, I'm not going to configure right now. Let me remove it, or we will just keep it for now, and we can check that at later point. Delete it, delete it. You can delete them as well. So this is just a drag and drop functionality, very easy to use, and you can draw connections using these things. Now, from my compute doctor availability to doctor available, I have established a connection which is unconditional. Now, in my doctor available, you can check that this is a switch. You can drag and drop on here again. This is a switch activity. There are multiple switch type activities like true false check, check workflow variable, case if else case. I'll be talking about true false check and check workflow variable here mostly. Please wait for some more time. Once I go to true false check, I'm checking workflow variable. The variable you saw here, right? If the availability is equal to busy, then straight away send it to no. Okay, you can see incoming, you can see these things, you can see outgoing things as well. So from here, doctor available, you can see the outgoing. If the doctor is true, if the outcome is true of this particular switch here, you are seeing the condition. If that is true, it will straight away go to no appointment email. From that, it will go to stop the workflow from there. Now, if the doctor is available, it will go to the condition. You can see here, it will go to yes if the condition is false. I'm mentioning my conditions here. If the condition is true, it will go to no appointment email. If the condition is false, it will come to raise appointment request. Again, no appointment email is a send email process type that you can define. Send email type, you can configure as per your requirement. If you have custom template, you can bring that up as well. And now notice this. This is my doctor available. The condition I have set it to yes because it is false. So it is coming to request appointment, raise appointment request. And again, this is your typical human task process. That is, you have defined a task definition. You're calling the task definition here. It is just asking your task definition to start it. It is human task create type. The definition is appointment request. You can see all the task definitions I have created here. And once it goes there, it is passing all the primary key numbers. What is the outcome? It will come to outcome. I'll talk about that in a second. And owner is approval. Now, what happens in a task definition? This is done. Raise a task definition request. The outcome will be whether it is approved or rejected, basically. That is a task definition outcome. If it is approved or rejected, the status will go to one more switch activity. When I click on that, you can see check workflow variable. Again, I'm checking the workflow variable for task outcome, whether it is approved or rejected. If it is rejected, straight away configure a connection to no appointment email. You can see no if it is rejected. If the workflow variable is equal to rejected, if the connection is going directly to no appointment mail. If the switch activity returns the value workflow variable, check workflow variable task outcome. If task outcome returns a value as approved, then it will go to confirm appointment, which is an invoke API which will update the status in your database table using this package called EBA demo workflow doctor appointment confirm appointment. It will basically update your records so that it will be available for your future purposes. Now that my invoke API is done, my appointment is done. Now what I need to do, I need to check whether the appointment is repetitive or not repetitive. Come here again from this variable, you will get an outcome to a variable confirm appointment. Sorry, 1 second for that. You can see all the parameters here. You will be getting out sending this to free consultation. This is a switch activity where it will check whether the free variable, workflow variable free is set to 1 or not. If it is set to 1, it will send an invoice to the patient. If it is not, it will update the fee directly. If it is set to 1, that means it is a follow-up request. I should not charge anything for the patient. So directly it is sending an email to the patient stating your workflow appointment is confirmed and there is no charge available for your this one. Now, if it is not a follow-up, I need to write one more PL SQL package function inside my package where it will talk about updating the fees. Based on the doctor appointment that you have asked, based on the doctor, the fees might vary. For example, 500 rupees we saw earlier. The fees might be 1000 or 2000. This particular API, invoke API, will take care of that activity that you see. This particular activity will take care of updating the fees. Once the fees is updated, again raise an invoice request. That's it. My workflow here is done. Once my invoice request is raised, you can see that it will go to the end user who is a patient where he can accept that invoice. This is an action. You cannot say this is an approval request. This is an action request that you can configure in your action task that you can configure in your task definitions in 23.2. And you can set a timer for that, like within 30 minutes, I should get a response. If not, I can directly say that workflow is incomplete and it is going to my no appointment email. If not, it will, if the user accepts it, it will update the appointment that the user has accepted. And now your workflow will actually wait for the patient to visit the doctor on that particular day and that particular time. Once your visit is done, you can see I have configured. I cannot raise a feedback request immediately after I book my appointment, right? I need to get the feedback once my appointment is completed. So what I did, you have wait activity available. I just drag and drop like this, and I have configured the parameters. How I configured, you can see the parameters. I'm basically writing an SQL query where it will fetch the booking ID and schedule and find the schedule where on which day, what time you're getting that appointment. Until that time, it will wait for the appointment. Once your appointment is completed, I've raised a request for feedback. Again, this is an action task which user can take and cannot take. If the user doesn't take, it will directly go to no feedback and it will directly stop the workflow there. If the user takes a feedback, it will send a thank you note using send email activity. Again, you can see send email activity here. Everything that I'm seeing here, all the activities are available here. Just drag and drop them or right click and create in the left pane. It will send an email. Thank you for your feedback. It is highly appreciated from the management team. So this is the end-to-end flow of the workflow that we just saw in the demo. This is how I have created it. Main things that you need to do, parameters need to be configured, workflow variables need to be created, and then you need to create activities and establish proper connections between them. If you like to learn more about this, let me share my presentation again. If you like to learn more about this, we have a dedicated YouTube video and we have a blog post available. We'll be sharing all these links in the chat. Please refer from there. And we have, I was talking about action task earlier, right? Where it is not a approve or reject, it is an action whether to accept or do the things, accept or leave it as it is. So this is an action task blog post. You can check all these blog posts and videos available. We are coming up with Apex Workflows live lab, which will be available soon. So you can also do a hands-on practice with the help of that live lab as well. That if you have any questions, please feel free to utilize the chat section. Please, or we can, if your time permits, we can take questions at the end of after the Tawfiq session as well. Now, thank you everyone for attending this, and I'll hand it over to Tawfiq, who will be talking about another interesting feature that we bought with Apex 23.
Yep.
Tawfiq, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Rupesh. Let me share my screen. I hope you can see my screen, everyone.
Yep.
All right. So the next topic we are going to cover is application working copy, which is one of the marquee features of Apex 23.2. My name is Taufik. I'm Senior Product Manager in the Oracle Apex product development team. So what exactly is this application working copy solving, right? So if you are a developer working in integrated team where you have more than one developer working on the same application, you might have faced this particular case where your teammates are working on different pages and you're done with your work in your particular page and you want to immediately integrate your changes into production environment without having to wait for your teammates to complete. So historically, this there were ways people used to do this. There were workarounds with people employed, but with application working copy, you can do this particular use case where you can isolate your changes independently and integrate them without having to wait for your teammates to complete their tasks. So before we go into this application working copy, what we will learn is we'll first see what exactly is this particular feature, application working copy, and what are the different artifacts it is giving you. And then we will establish a use case where I'll show you how you can use application working copy to isolate your changes and integrate them into production environment selectively. Right. So starting with what exactly is this application working copy? So application working copy enables multiple developers to work on different features, right, in isolation with of each other in the same application. And once they are done with their development of these features, they can periodically and selectively merge their changes into the main application. So application working copy provides this particular flexibility for you to isolate your changes from the changes which your teammates are working on. And who is it beneficial for? It is beneficial for single developers who already have an Apex application in production, and they want to keep new changes separate from the application maintenance changes until they are ready to move their apps to dev, test, or production. Application working copy also allows developers to create a working copy of an existing application, and then once you create a working copy, you can also view the differences between the working copy and the main copy, right? So you can clearly visually see the differences between the working copy and the main copy, and you can selectively merge whichever components you want to merge into the main application. This is exactly what application working copy is building onto the table. Now, how exactly this works, right? So creating a working copy is similar to creating a copy of an application. So if you're an Apex developer working with your Apex application, so one of the ways you would be doing is you would have created a copy of the application and would have worked on it and then manually merge those changes, right? So application working copy makes it a lot more easier. It is similar to creating a copy of application, but on top of that, you also get a way to view the changes. So whenever you create a working copy, what happens behind the scenes is that the working copy feature performs export of both the main application and the working copy. So it creates a split ML export of both these application. So all the components that you have changed in the working copy are listed as changes in this particular view. Now you can view the differences between the difference between the changes between main application and the working copy by using the diff viewer that you're seeing on the screen here on the right hand side. So you can view the difference between both the ML exports of working copy and the main application component wise. So once you have seen the changes, sometimes what happens is you can also run into merge conflicts. Conflicts occur when a page or shared component in the main application has changed and the same component is also available in the working copy, right? So if there are such merge conflicts, you can manually identify them in the diff viewer, and then you can manually merge them. Developers also have the choice of merging the full or by choosing which components you want to merge. So if you want to merge the entire working copy into the main application, you can do that. Alternatively, if you want to only choose specific components from the working copy and only want to merge those specific components into the main application, you can also do that selectively. Optionally, while performing the merge, you also get an option to perform a full backup of your target application. So if you're merging your working copy into the main application, you also can just simply check a checkbox in the wizard, which will take a full backup of your main application before performing this merging. So that at later point of time, if you want to revert back the merge, right, you can always go back to the backups and revert it from there. So this is all the comprehensive set of features that working copy is bringing for you. Now let us look at a typical workflow of how working copy can be utilized. So if you look at the flow for merging working copy into main, so first you have a main application. When you have a main application and you have certain features that you want to build in as part of this main application, so the starting step would be for you to create a copy of this main application. So if you're working on 4 different features and if you have 4 different developers working on 4 different features, you'll create 4 working copies, for example, right? So the first point is creating a working copy from the main application. So once you have created the working copy, the next step, you start working on your features, right? You make changes in the working copy. Each developer would be working in his own working copy application. He or she will be making their changes. And once they are done with their changes, once they are ready to merge their changes into the main application, they can initiate the merge process. So the merge process, what happens? The first step is you can visually see the differences between the main application and the working copy, right? As I've explained earlier, the application working copy feature, what it does, it takes the export, the split AML export of both main application and the working copy application, and it shows the differences between these two applications component wise. And then you can use the diff viewer, wherein you can see the differences between both these application components, right? Component wise, you can see the differences in the AML export file. And then once you have identified which particular components, which particular changes you want to merge into main application, you can selectively merge a specific components or the entire working copy application into the main application. So right now, you have only merged one particular working copy. So other working copies are still in progress, and the changes that are being done in other working copies are not yet part of the main application. So that means only your changes are available in the main application. And if at any point in time you want to merge your main application from dev to production or UAT, you can right away do that without having to worry about the other incomplete changes in other working copies, right? And coming to the refresh from main workflow, you can also refresh from main. Let's say you have your own working copy and you're working on your changes, and your teammates have already merged some of the shared components or some of the other changes they have done in their working copy into the main application. Now you can use the refresh option so that you can refresh and pull those changes from the main application into your working copy by using the refresh from main. So typically what happens, you have main application and there are some changes in the main application. Those changes can come directly by means of direct changing the pages or by means of merge from other working copies. In whichever way the changes come into main, you can always perform a refresh from main. The refresh from main, again, what it does, it shows a difference between the main application and the working copy. In this case, the target application is the working copy, so you can see the differences between main and working copy in your particular working copy, and then selectively pull the changes from the main application into the working copy application. So this is the typical workflow of how you would be using this application working copy to isolate your changes and selectively merge them back into the main application. Now let us uh, see a practical use case of how this is done. Right? We'll have a quick demonstration. So I am in the app builder. So this is the app builder, and you can see here I'm using the same application which Rupesh has presented. So let's imagine me and Rupesh are two developers working on this particular application. Now, as you can see, there is a small badge on this application, right? So this means this application has working copies created. Now, let me first set up the scenario what I'm going to use here. So I am a developer and Rupesh is also a developer of this particular application. Now, if I go to team development, I can see that my manager has assigned a bug to me. So this is assigned to me. It is under my name, and the bug is assigned to me, and it is very critical. I can already see that it is a bug and it is assigned to me. It is a critical bug that I have to solve. At the same time, I can also see that Rupesh is currently working on a dashboard. So he's working on an enhancement request, and he has also marked that he's already working on it. This is assigned to Rupesh, and Rupesh is already working on it. And this can take time. So typically enhancement requests will take time, right? But whereas bugs, you may need to fix these bugs immediately and make it available into the production environment. So you can't wait for Rupesh to complete this feature so that you can merge both these into production, right? So I will have to work on this. So what I will be doing, I'll be going and I'll be seeing what exactly is the bug. So let us see what exactly is the bug that my manager has filed. So Chaitanya has filed this bug and he says appointment date should only allow future dates. Makes sense. In the new appointment page, there are no validations. There are some missing validations. For example, the appointment date should only allow future dates and the age should be positive value. That's true, right? Age cannot be negative value, and I have to immediately fix it. Otherwise, it will corrupt my database data, right? So, and also the bug report also mentions that in case the above conditions are not met, we should show an intuitive error message on page submit. So as a first step, I will have to fix this immediately. So what I will be doing as a developer is, you can also see that this is also associated to a page. I can click on the page and I can see I'm in the main application. So here you can see a badge here to identify whether you're working in the main application or in the working copy. And if I go and see the other working copies here, you can, on the left hand side, on the right hand side, sorry, you can see all the working copies that are already created for this particular main application. As you can see, we have one working copy already created, and Rupesh is working on this. You can view the details of this working copy by clicking on view working copy details. And here you can see Rupesh has provided a description that he's working on an executive dashboard, and developer is Rupesh. And in this particular working copy, here you can identify that this is a working copy, and the working copy name is mentioned here in the badge. Here, Rupesh, you can see Rupesh has created a dashboard page, which is not available in the main application. So this is the main application. You can see, let me run this main application once. So if I run this main application, we can see in the main application, the executive dashboard is not there, whereas in the working copy. So in the runtime, you can also identify that you're working with a working copy in the developer toolbar. In the bottom, you can see here, it is mentioned that you're actually working with a working copy and not the main application. And here you can see Rupesh has already made some changes, and he has one executive dashboard page created already. So this is what is the current status of this application. Now, in order to fix this bug, which is assigned to me, what I'll be doing is I'll be going to the main application. I don't want to wait, or I don't want to, do my changes in the same app which Rupesh is working on, because Rupesh may take time and I have to immediately fix my changes. So what I will be doing is I will be creating my own working copy. So I will give it a name, some name like bug 001. I'll say Taufik is working on this, just to give a hint, right? And I will be creating a working copy. Now a working copy is created, and you can see that is that can be identified using the badge here. And now I can start making my changes. Alternatively, to give a hint to your other developers that you're working on page number 5, the new appointment page, what you can do as a best practice, you can always go to the main application and log that particular page. So that if a new bug is filed on the same page, people know that you're already working on this page, right? So this is logged. Now I go back to my working copy. I can go back to my working copy. This is the working copy bug 001, and I can start making my changes. I can run this application, and here now I'm working in my own working copy, and I can see that in the developer toolbar. I can log in and go to appointment, the new appointment page, and quickly start making my changes. I know what to make the changes. I have to add some validations, right? They should not allow, for example, the appointment date should be a future date. It can't be a past date. So I create validation, and I'll write, for example, in Boolean, I can just write the condition, return. So this is the date. So I can write to date of, and then P5, and Apex also has this contextual help that you get, and I'm converting that into the format, which is, let me check the format of this date field, and I can copy this and go back to this process. And so I'm basically, what I'm doing here is I'm doing my changes. I'm doing my changes in my working copy without disturbing Rupesh's changes. So I have fixed this bug, and they also said I have to add an intuitive message. Only future dates are allowed, something like that. I add an error message and I click on save. Similarly, I can add one more, I can give it a name, date validation. Similarly, I can also add one more validation to fix the other bug as well. Date validation, and this one also, the age should not be negative. So what I'll do, if my age should be greater than 0, right? Can't be 0 as well. Okay, I had to write return statement. Sorry for that. I can also add an error message. it should be greater than 0. So I have added both these validations in my working copy and save, and I can test these changes in my working copy directly. So I can simply run this page, and I'm working in my working copy, and I can simply test if this is. So if I give a pass date and if I enter a negative age, it will throw me there. So it is working fine in my working copy, and my working copy does not include the Rupesh's changes like the executive dashboard. So I'm satisfied with these changes. Now what I will be doing is I want to merge this particular application back into the main. So how I will do that is by using the application working copy menu here. So here, when you open this menu, you get various options. So you can switch to main. If you want to move to main application, you can switch to the main application using this menu. And you can also see all the application working copies associated with the main application. And you can also merge into main, right? So this is what I want to do. So I'll be clicking on merge into main. Now what application working copy does, what Apex does is it exports the main application as well as the working copy application. And what kind of export is it? This is a split YAML export. So split makes sure that it is component wise split, and YAML makes sure that it is a readable format. So it shows all the changes. So in this working copy, the only change I made is in page number 5, right? So that's why only that particular change is listed. So if I have made more changes, let's say I have modified some shared components, all those changes will come in this report. Then I can selectively change if I want to not merge the an entire working copy into main application. If I want to only select few changes, I can also selectively make those select those components and merge. Alternatively, I can also see the differences. So if I want to see what exactly is changed, right, I want to be sure that only the changes which I made are being pushed. So I can also view these changes in the view differences model dialog. The YAML export files of main application as well as the working copy application are shown. And here you can see only change that we see in this particular differences window is the new validations which I have added, both the validations. So I'm satisfied with these changes, and these are the changes which I want to merge. Then I click on next. And here, as I said, you get options to take a backup of target app first, so that at later point in time, if you want to revert back the merge, you can always go to the backups and revert it from there. And if you also want to delete working copy after merge, if you don't want to have the working copy, you can check this checkbox. So after the merge is done, the working copy is no longer needed. So it will delete the working copy. I'll leave it to default and I click on confirm merge. Now what Apex is doing is it takes the changes from application working copy into the main application. Now, if I go to this main application, this is now the main application, right? You can see it from the badge here. I go to my new appointment page and I can see my validations are there here, right? So this is how you can selectively merge your changes. And now if I export this main application will only have my changes. It will not have the changes which Rupesh has done, right? So this is how you can use application working copy to isolate your changes and merge them selectively into the main application. And then in the next step would be you deploying these changes into production as well. This is the entire workflow, that entire flow that you will follow to use application working copy to isolate your changes. That concludes my demonstration. If you have any questions, we can please use the Q&A so that we can, if you have time, we can answer it at the end. Yeah, over to you, Apurva.
There are some questions in the chat. Would you be okay to take them? One question from Stebin. Using SQL CL, will be able to export a particular working copy.
A working copy has its own export mechanism. Let me share my screen. Okay, you have shared. Let me share my screen once so that I can show this one particular thing. So application working copy has its own export mechanism. So just like how you export any app, right? If you look at the application working copy, it is nothing but a different app with a different application number. Just like how you export an app given an application ID, you can export this particular app as well using SQL CL or other uh, automation tools that you get in the market. Yeah. And from here also, you can export the app individually without depending on the main application.
Thank you, Rupesh and Taufik. That was an interesting and insightful session on workflow and working copies. I hope everybody got a better understanding today. Moving on, as you can see, we have the training and certification page, which you can access from apex.oracle.com/go/training. You can find all the training courses that we have developed and the link to the certification. And the for the certification, we recommend that you complete the Apex Developer Professional course and try out the Apex Developer Professional hands-on labs, which will help you in answering the questions from the certification. So, as you know, we started the JAPAC Office Hours so that we could bring the community together. So, if you have any customer or partner who is willing to showcase their Apex use case, or if you have built a cool Apex app that you would like to showcase in one of these sessions, please reach out to us and we would love to host you in one of the sessions. We have some upcoming events happening in the next few months. And the first is the Apex Conclave, which is happening at Chennai. So, the India Oracle Apex user group is hosting Apex Conclave, which is one of the biggest conferences exclusively for Apex. This time it's happening in Chennai on February 10th. So, don't miss out and please register to attend this event. You will get to meet the Apex team there, and you can also network with a lot of partners and customers. We also have some interesting sessions on Apex plus AI integrations, and also you will also learn more about workflow. Ananya will be attending the session, who is the primary developer of the workflow component. Also, you will learn about fusion integrations. And there are many customer showcases happening. So don't miss out on the one-day conference in-person meet. Also, we have the regional Oracle Cloud World Tour happening in major cities across the JAPAC region and also other countries. So, Dubai was concluded last week, and we have a team attending all the regional Cloud World sessions. The next upcoming one is in Mumbai on February 14th. So, you can meet Chaitanya at the session, Cloud World region. We also have Apex session, and it's a great way to learn the latest updates on in the Oracle world, what's happening with the Oracle products, and a great way to stay updated and also network. If you have missed the previous office hours session, you can go to the YouTube playlist where we have uploaded all our recordings. The current recording will also be uploaded to the same playlist, and you can watch any of the recordings there. And here on the screen, you can see some of the important links that can be used to access the shortcuts and the community resources, and access the Apex blogs and so on. That concludes today's session. So thank you one and all for attending today's session. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.